Well, here with us is Bob LaGamma. Bob is a former diplomat, U.S. former diplomat, that he just translated his experience in diplomacy and has been working after that in an extraordinary effort to help civil society and governments to understand the meaning of real democracy. He has been the force inspiring something called the Community of Democracies. Community of Democracy is an intergovernmental entity for the countries with better levels of democracy worldwide. With the Council for Community of Democracy, he has been inspired the creation, he has been moving governments to be more responsible and also monitoring with his engagement in the Community of Democracy keeps alive. He also is the one who has been inspired a group of democratic activists worldwide and created something called the International Steering Committee of the Community of Democracy. That's the civil society part of the Community of Democracy. Bob, just explain us what is the Community of Democracy, why it's important, the Community of Democracy, the other mechanisms related to the Community of Democracy, the UN Democracy Fund, everything that you have been accomplished over this extraordinary time ahead of the CCD and ahead of this work, and the result is there. So tell us about that.
What is the Community of Democracies? You are the Community of Democracies. Carlos Ponce of Venezuela, 26 others from around the world who form our network of the International Steering Committee. This is a very exciting venture. It's probably the most important movement in contemporary world, the development of democracies and the effort, the struggle to expand the democratic space in the world, and also to maintain it, to consolidate the gains and to improve on those gains. We started out after the Warsaw Conference in 2000, which established the Community of Democracies, where foreign ministers from more than 100 countries came together and they agreed upon a declaration, the Warsaw Declaration, which is a commitment of governments of democratic countries to support democracy, to give every citizen, every country in the world the potential for participation in their government. It establishes the right to democracy for all citizens. Well, at the time of the creation of the Community of Democracies, this was an affair of governments. And the effort that we have made is to build a partnership with those governments on behalf of civil society. Because we in the civil society community think we know, we have our fingers on the grassroots, we know what the issues are, and we know what we want governments collectively to do to protect and expand democracy, what the issues are. And so we have developed initiatives. We have developed a diplomat's handbook for diplomats from democratic countries who we hope will follow the examples of many diplomats and support civil society in their efforts to establish democracy in places like Ukraine and places like Tunisia, all over the Arab world now, where there are wonderful openings, possibilities for democratic order. We want diplomats from democratic countries to consider this a major part of their mandate, not just to relate to governments, but to relate to the people. And the people appear to want democracy. And so we should link up with those people and we should support them morally and concretely, materially.
This diplomatic handbook is a proof that civil society can support changes in the world. Let's talk about the diplomatic handbook. Life experience from life or current or former diplomats who made a change in some country. Thanks to them, the activity of those countries in that situation, particular situation in crisis, they made a change there.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think it's important to stress that it's the people of the country themselves who make the democratic change. But there are certain critical moments when you are at the threshold of change, when the international community can make a difference by recognizing the legitimacy of the demands for people for their rights and for a democratic government. At those times, we think it's very important for the diplomats from the democratic countries to work together to support that effort. But it's ultimately the people of the country themselves that are responsible for the change. We cannot say that it's the outside influences that have done it. So we think that this is very important. We have established a prize, a Palmer Prize, in honor of an American diplomat who was very active in supporting change in East and Central Europe. And we give this prize to diplomats who have made a difference, who have supported democracy in the countries that they're assigned to. They've gone beyond the call of duty. And we did that for the first time in Lithuania. We awarded this prize to 8 individuals. A Chilean diplomat who had worked in Cuba, an American diplomat who worked in Zimbabwe, and a number of others. And we're going to do it again in Mongolia at the occasion of the ministerial that will be hosted by Mongolia on April 29th of next year, 2013, in Ulaanbaatar. That ministerial is an opportunity for civil society to interact with governments and to explain to governments what the great issues of our time are, the issues of democracy, and how the governments can support that kind of democratic change.
And for the second, from Mongolia in April to El Salvador, it's going to be the second ministerial in Latin America. What does it mean for Latin America? How we have to be prepared, or readers in El Salvador, why they have to think about it? Why they have to begin to prepare?
Every 2 years there's a new chair of the Community of Democracies, and that has very important implications for the region. In the case of El Salvador, the emphasis will be undoubtedly for 2 years on democracy in the Americas. And we look forward to opportunities to advance the dialogue on democracy in the Americas during that 2-year period, from 2013 to 2015, when there will be a ministerial in San Salvador. And we'll bring people from all over the world, but especially from the Americas.
Any last word?
This is...
Not a last word. Almost the last word. It's never going to be a last word. We're going to keep fighting.
This is an open set of opportunities for people who believe in democracy and freedom and liberty. And we have a channel of communication to governments at a very high level. And we must make use of it to the extent possible. We must expand the space for democracy education, we must eliminate involvement of militaries in the affairs of government. We must encourage diplomats to spread the democratic message and to support it wherever it emerges. And there are so many ways in which one country can help another. We have now a community of democratic countries that are working together at the United Nations, in New York, in Geneva, and around the world. And when opportunities arise, like they have in the Arab world, like they appear to be having in Burma, we should work together to ensure that those opportunities are realized.
Okay.
Thank you. Hey, Carlos.
Nice interview.
You're a good questioner.
You're great. You're great.
When you have good questions,